CMV Corporations should be banned from buying single-family homes unless they plan to tear them down and build multiple apartments. I am not a corporation. I could buy a house down the street and charge as much in rent as I want. Then I could do that with a second house, and a third house, and so on. What difference does it make if I formed a corporation to do it? The issue is neighbors would not want apartments next to their house as it will drastically reduce their value of house. NIMBY. The thing that kinda sucks is that they will also bid 10 to 20 grand above everyone else, which entices sellers to choose them over people. I know when we sell our house, if we get a cash offer from some corporate entity that is tens of thousands more than everyone else, we're definitely taking that offer. Morality be damned, I'm not passing up an extra 20 grand. I feel like you're trying to fight market forces with regulations. Market forces are going to win every time. You need to fix the market, not try and dictate winners and losers. A lot of the reason why housing is so outrageous is because of regulations like zoning. Not going to try and CYV because I came here to post something similar. Should I have the right to rent a house when I move to a new city? Why should I have to buy one or live in an apartment? Do you have examples of other government-controlled industries that work out well for the majority? Just want to say that it's refreshing to see op not give out deltas like candy for weak or unrelated points. I disagree. Corporations should be allowed to tear down family homes either. They should only be allowed to buy land to turn it into a residential space, not profit off of already existing residential space. Removed. What's stopping a non-corporation from renting the homes for exorbitant prices? Food, shelter, clothing. Not for investment. Fuck you for thinking otherwise. One way to do this is to prevent the private ownership of real estate, including farms, and privately held corporations. Can make all real estate and corporations owned by a government and controlled by a local council. Are you a socialist? Should have just stopped at banned. Banning anything results in unintended consequences. What is a single-family home will become a hot topic of debate, and there will be a push to turn single-family homes into something else so they can be bought and sold by companies looking to profit. So it probably makes single-family homes cheaper. It may likely make single-family homes more rare. It's worth the money paying exorbitant rent prices because deep in the city you shall find the hot women. You can't do anything to stop BlackRock. Most other corporations such as Disney are subservient to them for funds. The housing shortage will never be solved as long as people see owning a home as the primary means of saving money for the future. Treating housing and residential real estate as an investment commodity necessarily entails making sure the price rises, and the best way to increase the price is to limit supply. Less supply means less housing for renters and the poor. Who the flock wants to live in apartments? You are arguing that corporations should be allowed to buy homes providing they make them worse, which is insane. Corporations should be banned from buying residential property in totality. Greater than this would obviously drive down housing prices, but that's the point. If someone has the means to own their own home, they shouldn't have to outbid BlackRock or their town's landlord to do it. But if somebody doesn't have the means of buying a home, they should just live somewhere else. No landlords means no rentals. Increasing housing supply by making apartments isn't much better. We would still be in the rent trap, except now we have neighbors that can hear everything. No personal space, property. Corporations are buying up all the homes that come on the market and putting up apartments. They rake in as much per square foot as they can that way. People who view a human necessity as an investment are scum. Then corporations will just start up smaller non-corporate entities to buy the homes. No, unless if they're slumlords, they will stay slumlords. Better to keep a well-built single-family home than a modern fall-apart in 5 to 10-year apartment structure. To clarify, do you not want people to be able to rent a SFH? Slap heavy taxes on investment properties. It will sort itself out. Holy shit, I agree so much. No entity, whether an individual or a group, should be prevented from entering into a consensual, voluntary transaction involving the exchange of goods and services. If your rights are not being violated, you have zero right to prohibit an interaction. Removed. I live in ATL and the market is being flooded with houses right now. The city passed a law stating that a person can't own more than 2 Airbnbs or short-term rentals, and a lot of people are being forced to sell at a loss. It's great. Removed. It seems like you are discriminating against renters. Why should only people who are in a position to buy be able to live in SFHs? The only reason why I disagree is that corporations should be allowed to buy single-family homes if they are doing an Oprah and giving them away for free. Removed. This is a great idea in theory. But most sophisticated buyers buy houses with a shell company anyway. BlackRock, and all developers, investors, etc., buy houses with single-purpose LLCs. Those LLCs are often indistinguishable from LLCs used by ordinary people to buy a primary residence. Enforcing this idea would require revising a long list of state and federal laws. How will making the rules for ownership more complex help the average person to afford a home? Do you really believe property management companies will have any problem navigating these complex rules? Do you believe that supply and demand ultimately set the average price in a free market? Removed. Add hedge funds and billionaires to the list too. Fuck feed wealthy for making homeowning, and renting for that matter, something that is out of reach for most Americans. What exactly are you trying to accomplish that couldn't be done through market mechanisms? For example, land value taxes and property taxes. I think a good compromise is corporations can't bid until a home is on the market and advertise to buyers for, say, a month. If it is still unsold, then corporations can bid and buy. It's their money, and it's their right to invest it as they see fit. Also, it is my right to be able to rent said house if I have the money. By not having these large companies owning houses, you remove these houses from the market. Once again, a pie-in-the-sky solution takes something from someone. I want a house. Apartments suck. To me. I'd take it one step further and say that corporations or individuals should not be allowed to own property they do not personally use at least X% of the time. After which point, they are forced to sell. Remove. If you're concerned about the availability of housing, wouldn't a more permissive zoning code be a much more effective solution? At least tax the sh*t out of the corporations who get into residential housing businesses. This would essentially mean that unless you can afford to buy a home yourself, you would either have a much harder time renting one, reduced rental supply, or you wouldn't be able to at all, if no corporations means LLCs, etc. You'd be almost certainly only renting an apartment unless you have the money to buy. Fuck Citadel, BlackRock and Vanguard. Why can you not build your own home? Why? 10,000%. Not sure how the answer to the housing crisis was to have corp buy empty houses and hold them vacant until they please. That's hard to enforce. If a parent dies and passes a home to the kids, and they'll leverage it for more property by creating a corporation, that's a good thing. I understand your point, but it's tough. Call American greed. America is a capitalist society. Why try to suppress that? Does anyone realize that by raising interest and bringing down housing prices, it just makes it easier for rich investors to buy everything with all cash? Then when the interest rates go back down and prices go back up in a couple years, all of the rich investors make an easy 30% profit? Imagine Walmart Corp buying up real estate in the houses in your area. 1000%. The greed of corporations and politicians has been rampant since the 1980s. And now we're heading towards economic collapse. Thanks, Mom and Dad.